One of the reasons it's great to have systematic Bible preaching and teaching in the local church is because it forces us to focus on the harder parts of the Bible. If we just pick and choose, we end up filtering out the difficult bits, the things that will stretch us or disturb us or rattle our little cages. It's the same with daily Bible reading. Over about a 5-year period, if you stick with Explore for that long, you'll work your way through the whole Bible and be exposed to the whole counsel of God, which is a very, very good thing. So when Carl Lafferton, the editor of Explore, asked me to write the Explore studies for the end of Matthew, I secretly thought, okay, this is going to be relatively easy. It's the last week of Jesus' life, the cross, the resurrection, familiar territory. Or at least it was familiar territory to me from the Gospels of Luke and John and Mark. But when I finally got my head into it, when I sat down and opened Matthew, it proved a very different matter. And I actually found it quite shocking in many ways, and I expect you will do too as you read it. Chapter 23, for example, is a blistering attack on the hypocrisy of religion. And the Lord doesn't pull his punches at all. And we're tempted to cheer and think, great, the Lord's laying into those evil Pharisees and teachers of the law, until we realise that we could be just as much the target for his firebrand sermon than the Pharisees and teachers of the law back then. So just imagine, to get a picture of what this, how shocking this is. Imagine a guest preacher at your church, comes to your church, climbs into the pulpit and starts his sermon. And this is what he says. Today I want to tell you why you will all go to hell if you keep listening to what your pastor says. It's that shocking. Jesus names names, and he calls these false religionists whitewashed tombs, snakes, and far, far worse. Well, chapter 23 is followed by a deeply disturbing chapter about what will precede Jesus' return, and it ends with a parable about sheep and goats that leaves us absolutely no room for escape for anyone whose faith in God does not flow out into practical action. Well, as I read this inflammatory material, it was not a surprise when what follows after that is the reaction. The Pharisees, the teachers of the law, are baying for Jesus' blood. And Matthew's passion takes special note of how abandoned, betrayed, deserted the Lord was as he is mocked, crucified, and cursed for our sake. And woven throughout the narrative is constant reference to the Old Testament scriptures. This happened that the scripture might be fulfilled. And as horrific and chaotic and depressing as it may seem to the disciples and onlookers, Matthew is telling us that it is part of God's sovereign plan to rescue the world from sin. Matthew ends on a sensational high note. Jesus is risen. Salvation is offered to all the nations. But who's going to tell them? It's you and me, brothers and sisters. So the end result of reading Matthew's passion for us should not be that we fill in some new areas of knowledge and understanding, that we gain a deeper appreciation of Jesus' teaching. We'll do that. The sign that we have read it truly is that we will be encouraged to start and to continue to make disciples of all nations.